This is the weekly sales meeting for November 20th, 2022. My name is Chris Fleming. You can reach me at chris@cdmediaconsulting.com or go to our website at cdmediaconsulting.com. Today's topic is you get one chance to make a lasting impression. The majority of mass media plans lack the appropriate funding to be successful. Companies, both big and small, make gross miscalculations. Both experienced and inexperienced buyers have no idea how to be effective using advertising, especially as a method of mass communication. There are several causes of this, but most fall under misconception. Advertising involves the use of mass media, and we all consume mass media, so we consider ourselves to be experts on its usage. We don't do this with any other mass consumption product. We don't consider ourselves experts in farming because we buy corn at the supermarket. We don't consider ourselves experts in modern medicine because we went to the doctor's office. And we don't consider ourselves experts in automotive repair because we drive a car. But because we listen to the radio, watch TV, or browse the internet, we know how it all works. Mass media is designed to reach a large swath of the population, but one advertisement rarely, if ever, makes an impact. Yet most people's impression of mass media advertising comes from one high-profile event. The big game, the Super Bowl, or the NFL championship game, whichever name we are legally allowed to assign this event, drives the perception for most advertising conversations. This one event happens on a single day in February. What happens the other 364 days of the year? Life. And in life, we deal in frequency and repetition to make an impact. The 1940s and 1950s advertising executive William Birnbach said, if your advertising goes unnoticed, everything else is academic. The goal of most advertising is to get a company noticed. That rarely happens in one advertisement. Mass media sellers shoulder a lot of the blame for this inadequacy. Most mass media campaigns are so underfunded they fail to make an impact. We ask the wrong questions up front. Many of us suffered the training mishap where we ask about the budget. For most, there isn't one, and in rare occasions where there is one, it is not derived from any kind of theory of solid business practices. It is conjured out of thin air. No research was done, no best practices followed, a number on a piece of paper, and media sellers fall for it every time. We then try to become sorcerers, conjuring up advertising campaigns with inadequate frequency. We attempt to meet a non-expert's opinion of what advertising should cost, and while some think they should be driving a Bentley, most have only allotted funding for a Vespa. Susan Diane Wojcicki is the CEO of YouTube. Wojcicki was involved in the founding of Google. She became Google's first marketing manager in 1999. She says people don't understand the logistics of advertising, and that is a fact. There are many a study about advertising's effectiveness. Recently, one such study analyzed broadcast radio advertising campaigns. It found only 6% had enough frequency to impact a majority of the audience more than once. I'm going to repeat that for the cheap seats. Only 6% of advertising campaigns had enough frequency to make an impact. Canadian politician John O'Toole bought a lot of advertising in his time. He put it this way: when executing advertising, it is best to think of yourself as an uninvited guest in the living room of a prospect who has the magical power to make you disappear instantly. You have to repeat the message often enough to not be forgotten. Like in all communication, we have to not only communicate to be understood, but to do it in such a way as to not be misunderstood. Advertising takes on this dual role of frequency and consistency. This is the way to not only be understood, but to not be misunderstood. Legendary ad man Leo Burnett said good advertising does not just circulate information. It penetrates the public mind with desires and belief. That happens over time. It is not immediate. We all want the instant cure, the shot in the arm. Advertising is the slow burn. It's more Novocaine than morphine injection. It needs time to work and time to make an impact. Those that want instant gratification from advertising had best change the message. It should say gold bars are free at their place of business this afternoon only. And I promise it will only take a single ad. There will be a line out the door, and that company will be bankrupt by day's end. And if you're a salesperson on this account, you had better get cash, not a check, but actual cash up front. Do this before the single advertisement airs. That is the only way to collect on this deal. For the rest of the planet, the operation takes place with a dose of reality. Most businesses want to sell their goods or services for full margin, not at a discount. For any full margin business to have a value proposition, it requires a long-range narrative that solves a problem for the consumer. It requires frequency and consistency to make an impact. It requires that the message is in line with the customer's values, and that product has the perception of being useful long before its need arises, let alone become a necessity for the consumer. Love or hate Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, he says advertising works most effectively when it's in line with what people are already trying to do. When you are advertising retirement products to 18-year-olds, it might not be a good fit. Why? It is entering the sales cycle when the consumer is not open to the message. Same with advertising these same products to the already retired. Nothing they can do about it at this point. But target 35 to 50 with that message, and yes, it will resonate. If compelling, can be heard, and still another subset of the population will act upon it. This is the challenge of today's media sellers. The sales professional has to manage the lofty expectations of the customer. These expectations have no basis in reality, but we must balance them with the investment constraints of the budgeting process. These are also not rooted in reality. It requires sellers to have vision. The Irish writer Jonathan Swift said vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Not only do sellers have to have vision, but they have to have the ability to communicate that vision. We must do so in a sales-worthy presentation that inspires the consumer. We have to overcome all the pre-programmed mythology that exists. It starts with the customer's cousin Sally. She is the real expert because she once entered a contest on the local NBC affiliate. Then we have to overcome some social media gurus who make lofty claims of instant gratification. And then the euphoric dopamine of wishful thinking. This has every business owner imagining that for every dollar they spend on advertising, they should get $100 in return. To overcome all of that, we need to understand that we only get one chance to make a lasting impression. As media sellers, don't only chase the deal. Chase the right deal. It is the one where the consumer sees a direct benefit. It is the one that is profitable for the company and pays the commission to the seller. If you make the sale but lose money in the process, what good is that? And if the order has no chance of producing the desired result, you will lose the customer on the next round, and that will cost you the commission. Make it your mission to prospect those that are qualified to do business with you. You work with equal effort for the $500 sale and the $5,000 sale. And the expectation of success is the same for both customers. But one will be satisfied, happy, and a prospect for renewal, while the other will be a thorn in your side. They will call asking for commercial times, and then tell you they never see or hear their commercial. My favorite response for those that fall into this trap is to say, why don't you buy enough frequency so it does not matter? In advertising, the key to success is to always be exposing your audience to your customer's message. You never know what stage of the buying cycle your customer may be in. They could be starting the journey, in the ambivalent middle, or have an immediate need. The goal of advertising is not only to please the latter group, but penetrate the psyche of the former groups to keep your client's name top of mind and available for purchase. To borrow once again from Leo Burnett, he said, the secret of all effective advertising is not the creation of new and tricky words and pictures, but one of putting familiar words and pictures into new relationships. This is the role we play as advertising advisors, to show our prospects and customers where they can put their advertising investments, and to show them how to make the most impact over the longest period of time. It is not to make the sale, but to make a lifetime customer. If price is the only thing that decides what your prospect buys, you have the wrong prospect. Please look to upgrade. We never get a second chance to make a lasting impression. And if the first impression our prospects have from us is the cheapest thing we are selling, then we have failed the mission. First off, it has zero chance of making an impact. Second, it only satisfies the need to sell something. It does not do anything for the customer. And your chances of making a lifetime customer are slim and none, and Slim took the bus. Why not take a different approach? Start with what works. Show them. Tell them about it. Tell them about the why. Show them the reasons. Give them peer validating testimonials and examples. Talk about short and long-term impacts, and watch the change in their eyes and how they gaze upon you. You are no longer a salesperson, but a trusted advisor, one who comes with real-life advice and examples to help that business. Otherwise, we are salespeople and get treated like all other salespeople, dismissed with prejudice for being part of the profession. Yes, this method takes longer, It may add extra steps to the process that prolong decision making, but once you get the win, you can earn a customer for life. What is the long-term value of that to your customer, the company, and your commission check? The first sale we make to any customer is always the lasting impression of who we are. If we are selling the cheapest thing we have on the upfront, we are forever labeled as such. Quit it. Stop doing that. Stop looking for what you can sell quick, and remember that all three of us have to win for it to be a good transaction. The customer has to win and see a direct benefit. The company has to win and the sale has to be profitable. And the salesperson has to win and it has to be worth their time and effort. It will have the added bonus of being a candidate for renewal. We cannot and will not have that unless we make the first impression lasting and impactful, and that starts with the first sale. My book, Yes, I'm a Salesman, You Can Be Too, is now available from Amazon.com. You can download it for Kindle devices, purchase it as a paperback or a hardcover book. If you like what you have heard here today, please consider buying a copy or two. You can always send one to a friend. Please go to cdmediaconsulting.com and follow the instructions.